Put your hand down. You smiling?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why are you smiling?
Because I love football. Football's fun.
Fun, sir.
Fun, sir.
It's fun.
Yes.
You sure?
I think
Now
so.
you thinking. First you smile, then you think. You think football is still fun?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes. No.
No?
Sir. Well, it was fun.
Not anymore, though, is it? Is it?
No, not by
No, it's not fun anymore.
No.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Make up your mind.
No.
Think. Since you're thinking, now go on, think. Is it fun?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Absolutely not?
Zero fun, sir.
All right, listen up. Put your hand down.
Yo, what up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Volume up a little bit more.
All right, you talking about my volume or the music?
Music. Yeah, that's good. That's good. There we
All
go.
right.
Yeah.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing tonight, man? Yeah, I feel like the Grinch stole my Christmas, man. I'm hurt. But it's an interesting thing when it comes to this fan thing, you know what I mean? Like, I go from anger, like, because I'm invested, then I go to apathy, because now I no longer care. I think I graduated to the step of apathy. Because
Man, I will say that's funny. But Troy, I see you said I had to be on time for this. Okay, look, man, the intro is the intro, man. It is what it is, man. I don't know what you expected from the intro. You already knew what the theme was going to be. You asked me, that was the craziest outcome from the week. So, I mean, well, we're going to get into it, but, I mean, after the third loss in a row, you should probably be used to it by now. Like Mark said, you should be at the stage of apathy.
yeah, that's how I feel about Brian Johnson, man. He a bad banana.
Man, it's just,
Yeah.
you know what they say, you know what the whole say? It was all good just a week ago.
Oh, but it wasn't all good just a week ago. It was 4 weeks ago.
It was all good 4 weeks ago. I'm just saying, this vibes have changed, man. The vibes have changed out in East Town, you know?
What up, y'all? Listen, man, y'all going to vibe out with us tonight, you know what I'm saying? It's a week before Christmas, exactly, you know what I mean? Like, we got 6 days before Christmas. I'm trying to bring the vibe, trying to give y'all the vibe, you know what I mean? Play some of them Christmas songs. Hopefully this becomes a Christmas classic for you. If you guys don't already have this in your list, Christmas in Harlem. One of my favorites.
Yeah, but what up, Dustin?
I like the way you think, man.
I just want to shout out to Dustin, man. You know, they took a bad loss, you know, but it's all good. It's all good, man. The Eagles lost for you guys, so you know what I'm saying? Still in second place. That's how that works.
Hey, man. Troy says, I don't like to call the black coach's job, but Brian Johnson is a terror. He got a gut. Hey, man, we gonna get into it. Justin, what up, man? Listen, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got to eat a loss. You ate a loss. Cowboys ate a loss. We ate a loss. So it's losses to go around for everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't want to do this in and four. Trust me, Rob. This in and four is nuts. This is crazy.
Even though I'm in New York, I'm still repping for
Repping for the A.
Yeah, but Rob, you say rather be 10-4 than 3-11. Let's be honest, man. The problem with being 10-4 is you're behind the 8 ball in the draft now. You know what I'm saying? You got things you need to fix. then you're kind of behind the 8 ball if you win too many games.
Dustin
you reading
said,
Dustin's comment? Yeah.
Yeah, it says it's Sirianni in my opinion. Hey, I don't necessarily agree with that.
He has to take some blame.
I mean, no, he takes a lot of the blame because he is the head coach. I think the blame goes to him because he's not affecting change in as far as the players that are actually taking the field, which is something that I'm going to get into with the Eagles. I wholeheartedly blame Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman in that regard. And the reason why, part of the reason why I take some of that away from Sirianni is because
all of the flashing lights, yeah, they shine so bright.
Bro, hold on. I'm being Harlem World. I don't think I ever heard that one. Oh, you talking about the Christmas? You talking about the version of Christmas in Harlem with all them on it?
Clearly.
But yeah, this is Christmas in Harlem. Kanye and Tiana Taylor. But yeah, if you guys just joined in, go back to the beginning. You know, there's always a little clip playing for you guys for your entertainment. But yeah, last one, y'all. And then this is Sean's favorite.
Beat is dope to me still, even after all these years.
Hey man, I just used to love the video. Like I remember being a little kid watching the video. Like I'm like, oh, there goes Santa Claus, and he with black people, and they rapping. Like that was dope to me. Man.
Yeah, no.
Reindeer. But yeah, listen. I'm
over here. I'm over here trying to make some.
He said he did the Dipset version. Yeah, the Dipset version was trash.
Nobody asked for the Dipset version. Nobody asked Dipset to make a Christmas song.
And I think theirs was first. And then they played off of that. But anyway, yo, so you ready to get into this, man? I think I wasted enough of our time.
Yeah, we did, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to delay the inevitable, Mark. Don't try to
man. I will admit, I'm not all that hyped to get into this. Like,
yeah, I know you're not. I'm just saying, don't delay it. Like,
you know,
that's it. That's all I'm asking.
I'm not hyped. I'm not hyped, guys. You know what I mean? Listen,
Mark, if your team's not going to give its fans what they want, at least as a member of the eye test, give these fans what they want, Mark. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Be better than your team, all right? Be better than your team. Let's go.
All right. Well, I need you to be better than your team, and even in the crucial moments, still perform.
Well, I'm gonna be here. You know what? If you need me to, I'll put you on my back. You know what I'm saying? I'll carry us. You know.
All right, man.
If I'm in charge of carrying us, you can't criticize any of my decisions in that moment.
All right, listen.
You know what I mean. Let's go.
Listen, y'all. So, week 15, what was the biggest things that happened in week 15 for you guys? What moments did you guys take away from week 15? And I'm asking you guys because for us, or for me personally, week 15 was somewhat uneventful. One thing that stood out, obviously, was Las Vegas getting 63 points on the Chargers and Brandon Staley being fired the next day. If it was up to me, he would have been fired that night. It would have came across the ticker that night. but that probably would have felt a little harsh. So I don't know, man. Sean, what was your takeaway from Thursday watching 63 points being put up by the Las Vegas Raiders?
You know what my thoughts was. I made a Facebook post, Mark. I said I ain't never seen a coach get fired at halftime, but ... Come on, man. What I wanted to see, Mark, I was disgusted by what I was watching. I know we talk about these Thursday night games being terrible to watch. I mean, if you were a Raiders fan or if you were looking for a blowout, this was amazing to watch. But for me, I was disgusted. I absolutely wanted to see Brandon Staley fired, like on the field. Like, you know how the reporter comes up to him on the sideline, they ask him some questions about how he was feeling about being blown out. And like, nah, man, I want the GM to be down on the field in that moment and be like, yo, pack your bags, homie. But my takeaway is what we've been talking about. Brandon Staley has been a terrible coach. He's arguably been the worst head coach in the NFL for the last 2 to 3 years, and somehow he's been surviving like a cockroach. Okay, he finally gets fired, but I feel like it's way too late. You've already wasted too much talent. So we're going to see where the Chargers take it from here if they continue to be a terrible organization and allowing these terrible coaches to kind of just stick around and all that stuff. But my takeaway was nobody should make Aiden O'Donnell look that good. Like, there's no reason why he should be out there throwing for 4 or 5 touchdowns.
No.
It's disgusting, okay? That's it, man.
No, 100%, man. I feel you. There's absolutely no reason why it should look like that or be that way, but yet here we are, and here it is. And unfortunately, the Chargers are on a search again, and yet another year where the talent is being wasted. Keenan Allen pretty much wasted his entire career, as a Charger.
Absolutely.
Austin Eckler, he made the amount of money he could, but as far as NFL career wise, that's it. Let's be
real. Like, Austin Eckler's at that age now. What is he, 27, 28? This might be it for him. You know, because this is what they do. They start to phase you out slowly. It doesn't matter if you're still good. They're going to phase you out.
You're absolutely right. He should have been fired for not tying with them before, but it is what it is.
Yeah, hold up. Here we go. They say Staley has a defensive background. Disgusted. I'm disgusted, Rob. Yes. Okay. Dustin says, don't forget about Kellen Moore, that motherfucker. Yeah.
He's the coach next year. Trust me.
But you know it's setting up for that. He's absolutely going to be the coach next year, which is crazy. Rob, I want to talk about Rob here. Rob says Belichick will change the Chargers around. Me and Rob had a conversation the other day about the possibility of Belichick going there just off of the strength of, I told him, I was like, look, there's only certain teams that have the defensive players that Belichick could possibly walk into a situation and say, and basically give you a top 5 defense right away. Belichick ain't going to just jump on a team that's bad. You know what I mean? And I thought the Browns was a perfect situation. Rob brought up the fact that, you know, they had their beef with the way he was fired. But the Chargers, they have all the personnel. I mean, what do you think about that, Mark? How do you think that would play out if Belichick went to the Chargers?
I think it would be trash because Belichick, like the Cowboys and the Eagles, he's a fraud.
Belichick defensively has not been a fraud.
Belichick is a fraud.
He hasn't been a fraud defensively, Mark. You're not going to give him no credit for what the defense has been doing for the last 3 years without Tom Brady?
No.
Why not? Who's responsible
because
for
he's
that?
because he's a head coach, not a defensive
Do you want to
coordinator.
talk about Matt Patricia? Is Matt Patricia responsible for that?
No, he's a head coach, not a defensive coordinator.
Oh,
I
man,
don't
I'm trying to figure
like
out.
basically what I'm trying to say. You are in charge of the whole product, sir, not just what happens on one side of the ball. And these head coaches that they say, oh, like, well, my defensive coordinator handles that. I never believed in that. You're the head coach. You're in charge of the whole product. If I keep seeing the same thing year after year from both sides of the ball, despite who you have on offense as your offensive coordinator, and your offensive coordinator keeps changing, and I keep seeing the same thing happening, and I'm seeing your team getting worse and degenerating, then I'm going to say, no, it's you, the head coach.
Well, I'm absolutely not trying to absolve him of anything that's happening on the offensive side of the ball. Any man that watched Matt Patricia perform as a defensive coordinator with the Detroit Lions, and as a head coach for the Detroit Lions, as a prior defensive coordinator, and watch that Lions defense be god awful, right? Anybody that would watch that, bring him back to the Patriots organization and hire him as an offensive coordinator, Mark, I would have to question their decisions. That person is absolutely not absolved of what's happening on the offensive side of the ball, man. So yes, he has to take as much as he has to take the credit for as he can take the credit for the defense. He has to take the credit for the offense too.
And they're not hiring. They are not hiring Bill Belichick to be anybody's defensive coordinator. They're hiring him to be a head coach.
Yeah, so, but part of that package is him shoring up the defense. It's the same thing when people went out their way to hire Rex Ryan as the head coach. Part of the reason why is because they know he's going to get the defense right.
And here's the issue with that. Part of when you hire Bill Belichick, you're not hiring him just to shore up the defense. You're hiring him to do something about the offense, and he has proven that he is jack trash at doing that. So what? Now
you gotta let go of your hate for that, man, Mark.
I don't have hate. I don't have hate for. Why would I have hate for a fraud? Like, I don't care.
I will tell you this though, you might develop some hate in your heart for Matt Patricia, the defensive specialist for the Eagles, Mark. But we're going to get into that later. Let's talk about some other games from this week that are not related to the Eagles games. The reemergence of Joe Flacco, man. What is going on, Mark? Joe Flacco, but he threw 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. It's not like he had a great game this week, but he got another dub, Mark. It seems as though these teams are going and getting they're hiring Joe Flacco left and right, and every time this man has to come in, yeah. I get what you guys are saying. Like, you guys are ignoring the entire thing with the Belichick thing. Like, he's there to do the whole thing. But you know what gives you the best chance to win? If you have a top 5 defense. And if you have the players to do it and you bring Belichick in, you're going to have a top 5 defense.
Okay.
It helps the offense a lot more. But either way, point is, back to what I was saying, Joe Flacco is out here, acting like he's on a Ravens Super Bowl run right now, Mark. He's out here winning games, The offense looks more lively than it did when Deshaun Watson was at quarterback. And right now, because of it, they are absolutely in the playoffs as of right now. So
let's not go too crazy. They beat Chicago by 3 points. And honestly, Chicago dropped 2 touchdowns. Like, so
Mark, Mark, listen to me. I said the man threw 3 picks, okay? Joe Flacco did not play good. What I told you is he's winning, number one, and I told you that the offense looks more lively. The ball is being moved down the field at a more efficient rate than when Deshaun Watson was there. Like, do I think they should have won this game? Absolutely not. But I can't ignore the fact that Joe Flacco has seemingly looked better than Deshaun Watson has looked all season. And my question to you is, whether it's just these 2-3 games or whatever, whether it continues for the rest of the season, if he continues to play this way, Mark, do you think it has any effect, if at all, on how the Browns deal with Deshaun Watson in the future, considering he's got another injury?
Absolutely not. You want to know why?
Why?
Have you seen that contract?
I have seen the contract, Mark, and you probably 1,000% right here. Okay, but
that contract is like it's like you're in a bad marriage. If you divorce from this, they take it, like, you can have millions and millions of dollars. They take in half.
They taking everything, baby.
They taking everything. The house, the cars, the kids, and the dog. Deshaun wants it all. Like, don't worry about it. Like, dog, they cannot let go of Deshaun. They stuck.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, I see Dustin said Flacco is like a kid in the candy store. That's what he looks like when he's out there on the field, man. We had this conversation the other day. It was like, Joe Flacco's not out here trying to be a backup quarterback, man. He's out here trying to be a starter. And you guys keep allowing him. Go ahead.
No, he's never been trying to be a backup quarterback. That's why he didn't have a job until right now. He did. Yeah. He doesn't know. Joe Flacco is not able to look himself in the mirror and say, "Hey, man, just go out there, collect your $12 million for being a good backup, and go the fuck home." He don't know how to do that. He don't know how to mentor some. Like, this is how I know that deep down Joe Flacco's not a great guy. Like,
no, he's a bad person. Okay, go ahead. Explain
like, I'm not gonna say he's a bad person. I say he's not a great guy. See, don't play with my words like that.
Hey, you know what? It's just very close. It's just a couple of inches off. But we're gonna go with that.
Don't play with my words like that. But no, this is why I know he's not a great guy. Because listen, you won Super Bowls. You've gotten a big contract. You know things to mentor people into the next realm because you have been there, done that in every level, right? You don't know how to say, "Hey, young man, I've been here, done that. Let me help you along, and I'll get a little bit of something as well while I help get you to the next level." No, you're like, "Get out of here, kid," kicking him in the face, like, you know what I'm saying, and then like, I'm not telling you shit. Like, that's the type time Joe Flacco is on. Joe Flacco he thinks he is Aaron Rodgers, but you're not.
He got the same amount of Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers.
Hey,
look, man, who are we to tell him he's not Aaron Rodgers? But
I am. I'm here. I'm the person to tell him he's not Aaron Rodgers. You want to know why? Because when Aaron Rodgers don't have people, when he don't have the personnel, he hasn't had receivers for years.
Yeah.
He hasn't had receivers for years, and he barely had running backs at times, and still Aaron Rodgers puts up wild stats.
That is true.
Joe Flacco, on the other hand, he commanded all this money, and when the Ravens couldn't afford all the players anymore, the Ravens went to trash. Like, because Joe Flacco isn't that guy. He's not the guy that's still going to put up the numbers when he doesn't have the depth of talent.
Yeah,
so
you know what I want? I want somebody to shut him up. I need a team to come in here and shut him up, man. Chicago had a chance to. They didn't do it.
Right now, here's the thing. Joe Flacco is a good game manager, and right now he has everything to manage the Browns. Amari Cooper is healthy. David Njoku is healthy. I mean, he may be looking like Two-Face right now, but he's healthy. You know what I'm saying?
That Two-Face comment's out of pocket, Mark. But go ahead. That's out of pocket. But go ahead, man.
like David Njoku is healthy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Jerome Ford, like, he's a home run hitter. Like, you know what I mean? He's not gonna get you the base hits, but he going to hit a home run every once in a while. That's going to be like, oh, all right.
But look,
Like,
one thing
so
I will say,
he has the talent around him to make him look better, and he's smart enough, unlike Desmond Ritter and Arthur Smith, to be like, there goes David Njoku. I'm just going to keep throwing it to him because he's going to make it happen regardless.
look, Falcons fans got to be sick about that loss. But before we get into that, let me just say, like, the type of energy that Joe Flacco was bringing is that old dude with the dreads from the trial representing himself. If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, well, goddamn it, I'm not. Joe Flacco not here to play around with y'all. He here to win games, baby. Like,
and he ain't. But here's the problem with that: he's not going anywhere. He's not the guy, man. It's not happening.
Mark, last question about Joe Flacco, because we got to get off of this Joe Flacco. I can't believe we spend this much time talking about him. Do you take who would you rather have right now, Joe Flacco or Daniel Jones?
Joe Flacco.
If you think I'm here to play around with you,
listen, Sean. I understand what your obsession with Joe Flacco is.
Don't you dare, Mark.
I 100% understand what your obsession with Joe Flacco is.
That, Mark. That is filthy. Out of pocket.
I know.
Don't even finish that sentence, Mark. Hey, stop it right there, pal.
I know, baby. I know.
Stop it right there, Mark. Hey, out of pocket, out of line, Mark.
You hold Joe Flacco on a pedestal because in one moment, in one game, he has went out there and demoralized. He went out there and demoralized you so bad that you now hold him in high regard.
First off, I don't hold him in high regards. Number two,
why are you talking about him
like this? Mark. Number two. If you could understand my level of disgust when Joe Flacco decides to play the best game of his entire fucking career in the Super Bowl versus us, if you could understand my disgust with Joe Flacco, it's like, dog, you couldn't have had that game any other time in your life. You had to have that shit today. Like, it's crazy, man. Nah, I'm still upset with Joe, with the whole Joe Flacco. And then what does he do? He gets his money and then he turns back in the guy that I knew he was. And I'm pissed because he wasn't that guy in the Super Bowl, Mark. Look, I'm not saying Joe Flacco was the best quarterback out there. I'm just acknowledging that he's playing well right now. And if I had Zach Wilson as my quarterback, I would want Joe Flacco there over him, or I would want Joe Flacco at least to be on my roster. Or even maybe the Steelers roster.
Hey, when you see Joe Flacco throw to David Njoku, do you just be saying to yourself, Jacoby Jones? Oh no! Like,
I don't even like hearing the name Jacoby Jones. You know how upset I was when Anquan Bolden came to our team. I was like, we don't fuck with you. Like, I remember you too. I remember you making Joe Flacco. You helped Joe Flacco get paid, and I don't like that. Like, Anquan Bolden used to make Joe Flacco look great, man. I hated it. So, nah.
But like I said, I know why you stuck on him. All right.
But you know what, man? Since we just kind of BSing with this, like, let's be real. Okay, is there any other games before we get into the Baker Mayfield nonsense? Is there any other games that happened this week that you guys feel are notable?
Well, notable. Miami shut out New Jersey, but that is what it is. The Giants came back down to earth hard.
They did.
The Giants hit the earth. They hit the earth hard, and that was unfortunate for them. Let's see. Oh, the KC New England game. I only want to bring this up because, like, this was a point that we was going to make anyway. But, like, at what point do you guys that are watching? What point do you think the Chiefs are just going to be like, all right, man, you're more of a detriment than an asset. We'll cut you for free to Kadarius Toney. Like, at what point do you think that's going to happen?
Mark, I don't know, because I'm going to be real with you, dog. That man would have had 2 more games after week 1. So I don't know. At this point, I don't know at what point did they do it. If they didn't do that shit by week 3, Mark, then they're just not gonna do it. So like, but at what point they should have done that? They should have done that 8 weeks ago when you realized he's just a guy that's gonna drop balls, man. Like, so what I believe. What's up?
Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah, I'll finish and then I'll let you get to that. What I do believe, Mark, is I do believe that Kadarius Toney is not going to be on this roster next year. That's what I believe. They're gonna let him walk away with some dignity here, Mark, and they're gonna let him finish out the season.
Yeah. All right, Troy. Troy says if Patrick Mahomes was Tom Brady, I think he would legit put hands on Tony. And you might be right, but here's the thing. This is what Tom would actually do, because I remember a few years ago, preparing for the fantasy football season, I'm watching the preseason. I forget what the receiver's name was, but in the preseason, Tom Brady threw to this guy a lot every time they played. And I was like, circle him. And I was paying attention to him. And I drafted him really late, as a sleeper guy, right? First game of the season, right? Like, Tom threw to him a lot in the preseason. First game of the season, Tom Brady threw to this dude maybe like eight times, maybe 9. That dude only caught 3 of them. He only caught 3 of those balls in that game. And Tom Brady never threw to that motherfucker again. That dude's starting time, like, that dude was a starter. That dude was a starter for them in game 1. Come game 3, that dude was not even on the field. Like, he was a spell wide receiver come game 3.
Hey, that's the way it should happen. Hey, so this is one thing I know we don't criticize Patrick Mahomes.
Thank you, by the way.
Show. Yeah, we don't criticize Patrick Mahomes very much on the show. You guys know some of you guys know how we feel about him, which is what most people feel about him. I still think he's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. He does so many things right or perfect that we can't really criticize him. This is one of those moments where I can criticize him because clearly he's not going back to the locker room or the sideline and having a quote unquote conversation with Kadarius Toney. He hasn't had that conversation with him. If he did, Kadarius Toney would either be on the bench, off the team, or he would be out there catching balls. Like, but if you're Patrick Mahomes and you're the franchise quarterback and you're the face of the franchise and you're the face of the league, you gotta be able to light a fire. You gotta go. You are the one person that nobody's going to judge. You got that free pass like Tom Brady did, like Tom Brady did, to go out there and curse your teammates out on the sideline because you're playing perfect. Like, you have that right. Go out there, curse him out, tell him to get his shit together, or tell him he can get off the field. But either way, he's either gonna improve and start catching balls, or he's gonna sit on the sideline until he can figure it out. And until then, he's just gonna continue to cost you guys games. And I feel like some of that responsibility has to go on Patrick Mahomes.
All right, real quick. It's 9 of y'all in here. Thank you. We appreciate. Now we're up to 10. It's 10 of y'all in here. We appreciate you for checking in and watching us. Hit the like button, please. It helps us out. It helps other people get their eyes on us. Just go ahead and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you don't already subscribe to us. All right, now to continue on our tirade about these NFL teams. Sean, you have something else?
As far as the rest of the games, I really don't have too much else because the other 2 games we're going to talk about here. So I want to get straight into this Baker Mayfield topic. Mm-hmm. All right, so here it is. Has Baker Mayfield turned the corner, Mark? Baker Mayfield is coming off of a perfect passer rating game where he threw for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, no picks. And I mean, the numbers don't really do it justice. The man was cooking out there, Mark. But my question to you is, do you think that Baker Mayfield has turned the corner here with his year that he's having right now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Maybe he. I don't necessarily think he's turned a corner, but this is by far the best year he's ever had in the NFL. And but even with that being said, this being the best year he's ever had in the NFL, I feel as though that statement is more so damning than anything. Because saying that this is Baker Mayfield's best year in the NFL ever, at least by the eye test, and it's to middling results. Like, you mean the best you ever have performed only puts you at middle of the road in the NFL? Like, that's okay.
Well, this is what I'll say. I'll give him slightly more credit than middle of the road here, Mark. I got his stats pulled up right here. It says that he is. It's still kind of middle of the road, I guess. He's 7 for 7, or 7 wins, 7 losses. So he's at 500 record right now. 63.5% completion percentage, 3,315 yards passing, 24 TDs to 8 interceptions. Essentially, Mark, he's probably going to finish the season out with 30 touchdowns, maybe 30 touchdowns, 10 picks. But let's say that's true. 30 touchdowns, 10 picks, and let's say he makes it to 3,800 yards. I mean, in a regular season, in a normal quarterback season, that would be middle of the road. Right now, Mark, that's kind of in the upper echelon. That's in the upper echelon of quarterback performances this year, man. So I want to give him a little bit more credit. I can't give him too much because the reason why he's in the upper echelon is because a lot of starting quarterbacks got hurt this year. So,
all right, real quick, because we just stumbled into an excellent question, and this wasn't something that we had on the list. But you said this year this is the upper echelon. Do you think this is just an off year for quarterbacks, or is this a telling of the defenses adjusting to the passing league?
I think it's both, Mark, to be honest with you, man. I think it's an uncharacteristically down year for quarterback play, specifically because I think teams are cheaping out on talent around quarterbacks, right? Either they're cheaping out on the talent around quarterbacks, or they have all the position players and they're cheaping out at quarterback, i.e. the Falcons. So these GMs are trying to cheat the system, and it's caught up to them. That's part of it. But the other part is now when you look at these defenses, like I said, when you got a guy like Myles Garrett, who they're literally shifting from, he's starting out the play at left end, and then you're moving him to the right defensive tackle, and then right before the snap, he's swinging around to the outside of the right end. When they're doing things like that, when you look at the average size of a linebacker, and the average linebacker in these days, it's like 6'1", 6'2", 225 pounds and runs a 4.5 40. I mean, these teams have adjusted, Mark. The player personnel on defense have adjusted personnel-wise, and they've adjusted scheme-wise to the way that the game is played right now. And I do feel like the defenses have caught up. I still believe that defensive coordinators are the best coaches in all of American sports, Mark. And apparently you get them the personnel and they get the job done. So I think it's a combination of both. I do expect next year you would think with an extra game, Mark, where we should see a 5,000-yard passer. It might not happen next year. It's definitely not happening this year.
We might not even get a 4,200-yard passer this year.
It's that crazy. It's that crazy right now, Mark.
That's crazy that we might not get a 4,200-yard passer. Like, I remember a few years ago, it was like the top 15 quarterbacks all had over 4,000 yards.
that's not. Like I said, I do believe the defenses have caught up. I don't think that's going to happen next year. Even with 17 games, I believe next year you're probably, with everybody healthy, you're probably looking at maybe four guys over 4,000 yards, which is insane.
Hey man, you got. It seems like maybe the NFL threw away the running back too early.
Maybe, Mark, because let me tell you, wasn't there a game one in Dallas
by James Cook?
Not in Dallas, in Buffalo. There was a game one in Buffalo versus Dallas to where they just ran the ball and it worked. Like I think teams are eventually going to be forced down that path, Mark, and the value of the running back is going to go.
See,
back
look,
up.
I like the way you going, man. You're cooking. You're bringing up random topics, and it rolls me into another random topic. So here's the next random topic here. You brought up the Buffalo Bills game with the Cowboys. James Cook, who went off this weekend. This is one thing. You and I had this conversation, I believe it's last week, or 2 weeks ago. We said something about the fact that we may not see a 25 plus carry rusher again. And this week it was like 4 of them, and they dominated. Like they dominated. James Cook dominated the Cowboys with his carries this week. And there was a comment by Josh Allen saying like, "Oh, the rushing, and I didn't have to do it." And like it was something like along those lines, and then it was like, yeah, that's always been available. That's always been available. You guys just simply do not call running plays. And then it was and I remember earlier this season on the sports shows, like that come on throughout the day, they were saying, "I want Josh Allen to run again. Like they need him to run." And you and I had a private conversation when we were saying, they don't need Josh Allen to run. They need to run the ball. Like that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. This was like week, what was it? Like week 6 or something? Because we were talking about how the Jets changed their complete game plan to where they started running Breece Hall more, and how it was giving them the capabilities of winning games because of it. And you're absolutely right, man. We sat there and said that you have a running back that I think talent-wise is in the top 5, top 6 of the league in talent for the running back position, and you guys are running them 10 times a game. It's ridiculous, man. And if you're not going to run them, at least throw to them or do something, man. It's crazy how the Niners look this way right now this year, and a big part of their game plan is to get the ball to Christian McCaffrey by any means. And it seems like teams are looking at it and seeing it working and say, that's cool. Y'all keep that. We're gonna do things our way.
But now here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about that. Yes, Kyle Shanahan is doing that, but then Kyle Shanahan, in typical fashion, when it comes down to the big game, he fumbles the bag and starts throwing every single time.
Yeah, I hate it. Absolutely.
Every single time he fumbles the bag and starts throwing. When it comes down to the big game, and that's how they end up losing. But the thing about that is, right now there's Kyle Shanahan in the regular season, and then there's Shane Steichen, there's 2 quarterbacks who predominantly focus on getting the run involved. No matter who they have at running back over there in Indianapolis, they're going to run. Zach Moss went down. They said, "Oh well, Trey Sermon 17 carries for 88 yards."
Yeah,
we
run in 2 running backs regardless because we're trying to run the ball 40 times.
Yeah,
like that's it. We ain't here to play around. We're not here to throw the ball 40 times.
They said, Trey Sermon, who the Eagles just threw away like yesterday's trash.
Yep.
Ran for 17 carries for 88 yards. Like, Like,
A
come
lot
on
more,
now.
a lot more touches than DeAndre Swift, by the way, which is great. My bad. Am I jumping topics too early? My bad.
Hey,
We
man,
almost there though.
hey, we almost there. I promise you guys,
Hey,
we are.
hey,
But listen,
I didn't get to
but
say
no,
what's up, but what up, Mo? What up, Mo? I see
yeah,
you
but
here.
no, like this being a monkey see, monkey do league. I wonder if team like you have two coaches that are showing success. You going like and if Shane Steichen had Anthony Richardson still there,
Yeah,
they probably would have more games. They probably be leading their division behind running.
yeah. I was going to say the Colts are in the playoff hunt right now. They're very well in the playoff picture as of right now. And I do not believe that they would have won as many games as they did this season if they decided to drop Gardner Minshew back 40 times, Mark. So, absolutely, man. You, how many teams need to get with the program, Mark, before other teams start to follow suit? Do you think that there's a chance that the NFL could go back to a more balanced? I mean, do you think that the status quo for offensive play calling could ever go back to balance or even run first?
I don't think it'll ever go run first again because whatever way they are cooking the books or whatever formula they're using to make the books, I think everything that they do in the NFL, everything that the teams do in the NFL is based behind how much money it makes them. And I feel as though they like whatever formula they're using, it seems to me at least that it works out best for the owner if you're only paying one guy. You could pay that one guy an exorbitant amount of money, but pay him. That's it. Mm-hmm. Like when you have a running back who's your feature guy, or you do a balance thing, now you have to pay everybody. Mm-hmm. Like you have to, because now, like if you're running, you definitely need a better offensive line. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And if you're, you know what I mean, you need certain things to support the run more so than a superstar quarterback, which we've seen over and over again. Teams will pay a quarterback and then piecemeal everything else.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I don't know exactly why they're doing that, but I think it's a money thing behind it.
Yeah. So real quick, Rob says if the defenses keep catching up to the offenses, then they might rely on the run a little bit more than normal. I have a statement. This is a statement that I made before the season started, Rob. And I said, right now, it reminds me of the NBA. NBA became a big man league because of Shaq. Shaq showed up and they're like, I don't care what you do. We need big bodies. We don't care if they're slow or not. We don't care if they're unskilled. We just need somebody to be able to survive the post play of Shaq. We need somebody to try to defend him. Okay, because Shaq was out here averaging 30 and 14 and shit. So because the NBA went that way, and by the time Shaq retired, everybody's just got these big men. By the time the Warriors decided to play small ball, it was just them having the right roster and the right game plan to go against the status quo. That's why it worked so well, because everybody's rosters, they didn't have the personnel to deal with it, right? They weren't built for that. So they had the right team, the right players, and all that stuff, and it was the right time. Right now, because defenses, there used to be a time where everybody's base defense was a 3-4 or a 4-3. Right now, a lot of teams' base defense is a nickel. Okay, and then you have cornerbacks that are smaller playing in the nickel position. You have safeties or former safeties playing the linebacker position. Everybody's small now, okay? Everybody's small. Even your pass rushers are small now on the edge. So everybody's smaller and faster. I'm telling you right now, if a team says, you know what, we are just going to get our offensive line together and we're going to get us some like 2 great running backs and we're going to run the ball, they would turn this league upside down because every team's personnel is out of position to play against that. So as you're saying, the defense is catching up. Maybe they'll lean on the run. Right now, it doesn't even have anything to do with the defensive coordinators. It has everything to do with the personnel. Let me just put it this way: if you would have put Derrick Henry behind the offensive line that Zeke had, he would run for 2,000 yards every season, and that would change the way that teams would be built. But that's what it's going to take to kind of change the status quo when it comes to the way the offenses are being built.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a conversation we have had multiple times up until this point.
Yeah, somebody needs to take that leap and be the Warriors of the NFL and say, we just going to come here to run the ball.
Yeah. But the difference was with the Warriors, they were doing the flashy thing, just shooting up, throwing up threes.
Mm-hmm.
The flashy thing is to throw passes.
Yeah.
So that fits like the narrative. Flashy sells. NFL wants to sell flashy. They don't want to sell. They do not want to sell the grit, the grind, and the mud.
And that's the part that's the reason why Mark and also myself don't believe it'll ever go back to being a running league, because people look at it and they think it's boring football. The NFL looks at it and says, we make more money if everybody's throwing for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. So there's not a vested interest in that. And then when you have team owners that are micromanaging and kind of getting hands-on with the GMs and saying that they want guys, because it happens all the time. Hey man, you just paid this guy a bunch of money. I don't want him running outside the pocket anymore. I don't want to see him doing design runs. That same influence is why it's going to be so much harder for the NFL to turn around.
Absolutely, man.
You're going against the money in that situation.
All right, so I guess, is it time?
It is time, Mark, man. We here now, baby. Let's go. Okay, next topic. Eagles in a tailspin. Mark, the Eagles dropped the 3rd straight game. They remain in the 5th place in the NFC. They had a chance to regain the ground that they lost after the Cowboys lost their game to the Buffalo Bills. Once again, that is a like opponent that you guys share. The same way you guys share a like opponent in the Seahawks. So both of these games were also pivotal for the NFC East race, and both teams dropped the ball. Everything cancels out. Cowboys stay in 2nd place. Mark, you mind telling me what in the world is going on with the Eagles right now?
What's going on with the Eagles? Well, chickens have come home to roost. They are there. They are laying eggs, and this is just par for the course. If you ask me, this is what we should expect to happen. Jerry, you very well may be right that the Eagles will win the division.
Baby, spill my beer. I'm laughing already. He was like, "Don't worry, Eagles win the division." I mean, that's the Cowboys. Jerry's the only Cowboys fan that I always feel like he feels everything that's happening right in front of his eyes. He's like, dog, I don't trust my team because they always let me down, and they always let me down in the same way. I'm glad that you're a realistic fan, but I feel sorry for you.
All right, but here's the thing, man. Here's the thing about this Eagles game. People want to blame, like, everybody's looking and they're screaming and they're yelling different things and different what's the issue. A lot of it has been going towards Jalen Hurts, and a lot of it has been baseless towards Jalen Hurts, in my opinion. When we look, like, outside of the outside of the fumbling issue, a lot of this stuff can't be put on Jalen as much, man. Like, I've watched incredible interceptions happen in the game where like these guys are doing, where these corners are doing incredible toe drags to get to get the ball. Like, this is like the fourth time that has happened this season where a dude toe drags out of bounds as if he was the wide receiver.
First off, he leaps from 10 feet away, Mark, comes across, he catches it. His left foot was absolutely going to be out of bounds. Luckily, his teammate's there, and his leg hits his thigh, which then causes his foot to hit him out. The probability of that happening, Mark, is very small, astronomical numbers. You know, but of course, Mark, to your point, because it's happening so much, you're just like, dog, that's a sign, dog. That's got to mean something, man.
Right. But like, people are pointing at Jalen Hurts for what's going on with this team, and it's wrong. But I'm going to break down this game first before I talk about anything else. All right, real quick, I would just want to see what Dan Orlovsky had to say.
Yeah, I already know, but he right though. Like, go ahead.
Dan Orlovsky says the Eagles' offense has to stop running the same 3-4 plays over and over and over again. 2x2 stacked RPO, 3x1. Got her over the ball, empty heart. Red zone is pro. Yes.
Pass run option.
Yeah.
RPO, whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, listen.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. No, but this is correct. But here's the issue, though. You can run the same few plays. You don't have to have an amazing playbook if you have a few plays that just work. But like, they can run the same RPO over and over again if it works, and our RPO works over and over again. What doesn't work is a fucking QB draw. It's like QB draws rarely work, and especially and I can tell you when you shouldn't call it. You shouldn't call it on 3rd and 8. Mate, if it was 3rd and 2, if you needed it on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, maybe. But anything over 5 yards, don't call a QB draw, man. On 3rd down, they're sending more pressure towards the quarterback because they don't want him to get the first down. They're trying to get the sack to, like, on the 3rd down. They're pushing for that sack most times on 3rd down. Why would you do?
The crazy thing, Mark, is they're not only are they sending extra pressure, but out of the extra, because they have extra rushers, the guys that are playing contain can sit there. They have the liberty of sitting there because they have extra pass rushers coming in to put pressure on them to force them out of the pocket. It's absolutely the wrong move to do a quarterback draw in that moment. But I can tell you what else is a terrible play, Mark. What you shouldn't be doing. There shouldn't be 4 plays, 5 plays per game where you're running dive plays with Kenneth Gainwell.
But hey, listen,
that shouldn't be happening either, but it is, Mark.
Hey, listen. We'll get into that because I want to get. But what I want to get into is I want to talk about this game in a nutshell. Like, I'm going to get into it now. All right. So the Eagles game in a nutshell basically came down to mistakes and problems that have nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. They drive on the second touchdown. They drive all the way down the field. Or the second potential touchdown, drive all the way down the field just so they get a penalty while they were setting up. Like, while they were coming to the line, a flag was thrown. I've never seen that before. They threw the flag right away, and they said that they threw the flag on Jason Kelce because he moved the ball from the spot where the ref placed it. I see that all the time from the center. The center moves the ball so he can hike it. Like, that was very weird to me. Oh, listen, man. Again, I'm not saying he doesn't have anything to do with it, but he has very little. Now, next up, man, from that penalty, next weird play that happened was Watkins gets pass interfered with. The ref didn't see it because he's on. I understand why the ref didn't see this pass interference because Watkins is facing this way. The ref is on his back shoulder, and he is being pulled down this way. So the ref can't see that. But so I understand why it didn't happen. But my issue is with Watkins is that you didn't fight to try to knock that ball out of his hand at all. You watched this dude intercept the ball and you just looked at it and kept running and like ran past it. Like, what are you doing, Doug? Why are you out here? What is happening? Like,
boy, why are you out here? Wild, man. He said he's trying to Kadarius Toney, y'all.
Yo, like, listen, like, shout out to AJ Brown when the ball goes awry around AJ Brown, he's like, no, if I ain't catching it, nobody's catching it. That's just how this is going to go. Like, he's trying to make that happen, but no, Quez just watched him catch it, and here's the issue I have with Nick Sirianni around Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins has burnt this team over and over and over again, and yet somehow he still gets all this playing time. He played 52% of snaps yesterday. So why is that, man? Why are they utilizing him in that manner? Like, we watched him burn this team, and we watched players like Olamide Zaccheaus, who has performed for this team, and he's not getting any snaps. He played 5% of snaps yesterday. It seems very simple that they need to bench Watkins and play Zaccheaus. I don't get it.
You know.
Hold on. Troy says they must think this is Madden, looking at Quest speed rating, thinking he got to catch a bomb sooner or later. That's what it feels like. But he's not effective. Zaccheaus is a lot more effective than Watkins is. Watkins, through 7 games this season, has 10 targets and 7 receptions for 49 yards.
Hey, Jerry's filthy for even bringing up that name. I'm not even going to repeat it. But real quick, Mark, because I saw Dustin ask earlier. He said, I wonder if Hurts is changing that at the line. No. Forget about what he's changing at the line, Mark. Well, in that particular moment of what Dustin is talking about, we talked about how bad the play calling has been. And Jalen Hurts is now one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. He is the franchise quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. He is, Mark, I don't care what his stats are like this year. I don't care that he hasn't thrown a touchdown X amount of games. He's still a top 5 quarterback in this league, arguably top 3. Do you expect, Jalen Hurts to come to the huddle, look at some of these play calls, and be like, I'm audibling out of this?
No. I do not expect that. Listen.
Would you like to see it?
Yeah, but it'll never happen.
Why not?
Listen, this team, I'm just going to run down just based off of the interviews that I've heard and from this team throughout the years. Just this year, Howie Roseman explained the process of how the Eagles game plan. And mind you, I just said Howie Roseman, the GM, explained how the Eagles game plan. Why does the GM have anything to do with the game planning of an NFL game is beyond me. Like, absolutely beyond me. So that lets you know right there the level of micromanaging that is happening on this team. The GM is involved in the game planning of the day-to-day operations. He said he goes down and says what personnel they'll have available, whatever, and blah 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 blah.
This is
Okay. And
like I said, I didn't want to repeat the name, Mark. I know it triggers you. I just fucking.
I'm like, where's that from? What is he talking about?
I didn't bring the comment up for nothing, dog. I was like, he brought up J.J. Whiteside, man. I was like, hey, man, Jerry, you go ahead. I'm not bringing that name up, man.
But listen, no. And when you look at that and you see how they're involved from that nature to what personnel is involved and how they're going to go about the game plan, and then we also know that they're involved with the defensive scheme and the offensive scheme, because through 3 different coordinators, 3 different head coaches, the defensive scheme is the exact same. Like, it doesn't matter, but the scheme itself is the exact same through every coordinator. That's because the people that haven't changed is the GM and the owner. That's what they want to see. And basically your head coach and coordinators just have to comply. They get to pick what plays they use, but they have to play within the scheme that the GM and owner wants to see.
So they like, you technically you're running the restaurant, but you don't have no choice of what's going on the menu. Here's the plays, pick one. Like, yeah,
exactly.
That's it.
Exactly, pretty much. Like, yeah, man, like that's exactly when you go to a restaurant, you pick something that you want to eat. You can't just be like, you can't go to a burger joint and order a pizza. Like, that's pretty much what it's like being at playing for the Eagles. You can't.
So instead of them being the person that's managing the restaurant that gets to pick the menu, they're being treated like a customer.
Basically.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
And so I say that to say that there's no way that they're allowing their quarterback to change the play. Like to go around messing around with the play.
So right now, Mark, I would like to bring up the comments or the comment from Jalen Hurts after the game, where he says, we're not committed enough. It's Jalen Hurts. He's always going to say the PC thing. He's always going to say the right things. He looked visibly distraught and disappointed after the game, Mark, which I know you've complained about him, not really complained, but you've kind of wished that he would show more emotion. This is the most emotion I've seen him show in a long time, Mark. And it was terrible to see that it was disappointment. And you could see like he wanted to say something, but he didn't. So when he sat there and said, we are not committed enough, do you believe that he was talking about the folks that are controlling the team, i.e., like you said, the owner and GM? Like, who do you think he was talking to? Is there a chance that he could have been talking about that situation and basically throwing his hands up and saying, look, I'm out of control of this. I'm saying we need to be more committed, but I'm very specifically talking about certain people.
He's very specifically talking about certain people because of the emphasis he put on it when he said the comment. But I don't know who he's talking about, and I can't begin to speculate who he's talking about because the statement itself is so wide open. It could be anybody that he's talking about. He could be talking about how when he's on his scramble drill, the receivers are just standing still.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm laughing so hard at that, Mark, but this is the second or third game in a row, Mark, where I've seen him, because it's happened in the Niners game, it happened in the Cowboys game, and now it happened in the Seahawks game, where he's doing everything he can to keep the play alive. He rolls out to the left on that play, Mark, and they say it. They're like, look, he's absolutely looking for somebody to head down the field. Everybody's just staring at him.
Yeah,
Nobody's
standing there.
Nobody's moving to any open spaces on the field, and he had like 2 or 3 seconds to throw the ball, and then he has to throw it away. Like,
Right.
this is a situation where, I mean, like I said, you don't see very
Like,
many emotions from Jalen Hurts, but after the game, you could tell that he was frustrated.
Yeah, the receivers in that instant, and anytime that happens, they're just standing there. So, like, he could have been talking about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and I brought it up last week that AJ Brown just stood there while Bland or whoever it was dry humping them in the back of the end zone. Like, I don't
Fight to go get the ball, baby. Go fight to go get open. Do something, man. Maybe if you, like you said, maybe if you was fighting, they would have noticed that you were being grabbed around the waist with two hands. With two hands, Mark, not one, with two hands.
Yeah, like it was super wild, dog. He was out there getting molested by the booty warrior, and he just standing there taking it. Like,
hey, look, they were seeing it every time somebody put one arm around DK. They saw that shit every time. Imagine if somebody had two arms around you and you're running in place. Imagine what that looks like. It looks like a flag, okay? It looks like a flag to the refs, but it looks like nothing when you just decide to stop moving. You know?
exactly.
So yeah.
No, and yeah, and then moving on to other points in the game, right? Kenneth Gainwell, this is where to Dustin or whoever said about Nick Sirianni getting blamed. This is where Nick Sirianni gets blamed. In the game, there's no reason why Kenneth Gainwell should be getting 41% of snaps. I watched in that, like, they must think Kenneth Gainwell is some amazing blocker, because in that game, I watched them motion Gainwell out and then motion him back in for the block or for the check and release, and then sometimes he would be in for the block and then they motion him out. Watched them do that over and over and over again. I'm not scared of Kenneth Gainwell motioning. If you motion DeAndre Swift, that might actually be worth something. It might actually be worth something if you motion DeAndre Swift to the outside. I might actually be scared of that. But they had Gainwell just in there 41% of snaps. And mind you, he only got 5 carries. He only got 5 carries on the game. But he was in on 41% of snaps. Those snaps need to go down by another 10%.
That's being generous, Mark. It should be going down by 15%. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Hey, you know what's a crazy stat, Mark? And I'm going to bring this up because I heard it during the broadcast. I don't know if it was this week or last week, but they said that the Eagles are, I want to say, within the last 2 seasons, the Eagles are 7-0 when they rush for over 100 yards.
Yeah.
It's a very weird thing that they can only reference 7 games over the last 2 seasons where you guys rushed for over 100 yards. And they said it doesn't even matter whether you're talking about it's from the quarterback and the running back combined. As long as the team has over 100 rushing yards, you guys win. And it just seems like
that was broken yesterday because Jalen Hurts ran for 80. Jalen Hurts, he ran for 80 yesterday, and what was his name? And Swift ran for 70.
Yeah.
So
that was broken yesterday. So to your point, but it's one of those things where, let's be honest. You said Gainwell had 6 carries. What he had, like 6 for 20, and
6 for 21.
And then you had Swift getting his carries, and this is the thing about running the ball, Mark. There has to be a purpose behind it. You can run the ball, but you have to run the ball. The timing of when you run the ball has to be right. The timing of the running play has to be right. These are very simple things, man. The running game is not very complicated, Mark. It should be easy for you to tell which runs you should run at what point. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be doing a dive play on 3rd and 8. Okay, there's a certain times when you need to run the ball,
right?
And you should be running it with the purpose of making the defense play honest so that you can open up the pass game. It's very simple, Mark. And it felt like you guys weren't utilizing the run to open up the pass. And matter of fact, you guys didn't really start running the ball heavier until the second half. So
All right.
it's just it's a strange thing because yes, Jalen Hurts did get those rushing yards, but I felt like as much yards as he got, the play calling was inefficient in gaining those yards.
No, the play calling wasn't just inefficient; it was bad. Now, but going to the other side of the ball, the Eagles have painted themselves in a corner, because you sent Sean Desai upstairs, and essentially was a firing without being fired.
Yeah,
you sent him upstairs. Sent him upstairs. No headset, nothing. Matt Patricia's downstairs calling plays. He's doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, "Well, they didn't put up 30." Yeah, because they're not the Cowboys, and they're not, and because
they had Drew Lock at quarterback.
49ers. It was Drew Lock.
It was Drew Lock, man.
He put up 20. Like that's not what's like
Mark, Drew Lock had a 92-yard drive at the end of the game, and where he completed about 4 passes. I'm gonna be honest, man. That is unacceptable. Okay.
Now, to be fair, one of those passes was a freak pass. One of those passes was a freak pass that I don't know.
That DK catch was crazy, man. And I agree with you, Mark. That's something that you can't do. But the point is this: they didn't score 30 because they had an inferior quarterback. If Geno Smith was in that game, they would have scored 30.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Now, because I want to go to the very last play is indicative of everything Matt Patricia and everything this defensive scheme and how it's approached. Jackson Smith and Jigba scores, right? They are in cover 1 man coverage.
Jerry.
Now, somebody explain to me, what is Bradbury supposed to do when he's out there single covered on a guy, and when they have multiple options, they can either get the first down and go out of bounds, or they can go over the top. Now Bradbury is one person. He's a single person. And Bradbury said, "I was trying to make sure to defend the sticks." Smith and Jigba is 22 years old?
Yeah, 21, I think.
yeah. Smith and Jigba is 21 years old, being covered by a 32-year-old man. Right? Is that Bradbury's age? Well, how old is Bradbury?
He's something. He not young, Mark. That's what I'll say. He's not 21. He's not 22 either. So,
right. So actually, I really want to know what Bradbury's age is, man.
I'm gonna look it up.
But yeah. Anyway, so
30 years old, Mark.
So yes, 22-year-old being covered by a 30-year-old man that has already shown signs of aging. Like, there's nothing that he can do here. Once somebody gets past him, that's it. You have to understand your personnel. You have to call the plays according to your personnel. When I play Madden, I'm not leaving Fletcher Cox there on an island. Like I don't have.
He's not out there to cover nobody.
Right. Like, yo, when I do QB contains, I don't have Brandon Graham as my defensive end, because I know that a QB could go right around Brandon Graham because he's slow and old. I have that understanding. Like, so I put the younger guy there. Or I try to make sure he has some help. They didn't give him no help. The safety, they were like, well, the safety's supposed to come over and help. The safety is playing in the middle of the field. He's supposed to run from the middle of the field all the way to the right side of the field.
Yeah, I'm going to say something too, real quick, man. Look, they picked on Bradbury for the last drive and a half. Okay, their last 2 drives was because they were picking on Bradbury. Okay, you have to adjust to that as a defensive coordinator. Not only that, let's just say what it is, man. Jackson Smith and Jigba. If he didn't have Marvin Harrison Jr. on his team last year, he was absolutely by far the best receiver in college football last year. We're not talking about somebody that is a middle of the road wide receiver. He came into that draft as the best receiver. Okay, that is you can't ignore that. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say we're going to put anybody on them, right? You have to respect that to some degree. And to be honest with you, Mark, you know how I felt about the Vikings game when I was like, we keep going cover 1 and we keep leaving Charvarius Ward on the island. Mark, I agree with you. Charvarius Ward was actually doing a pretty good job for most of the game. I just know that it wasn't sustainable. I don't hold James Bradbury in the same regard that I hold Charvarius Ward. So if I don't think Charvarius Ward should be left out there on the island, I absolutely don't think that James Bradbury should have been left out there. And if me and you can figure that out, Mark, why can't Matt Patricia figure that out? They had him one-on-one with DK for most of that. That's crazy.
And absolutely crazy. And then here's another thing, man. Here's another thing. Throughout the game, I watched Drew Lock just hit the middle of the field. Bam, 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 bam. Nobody is in the middle of the field. I mean, not a human soul is covering the middle of the field. Like, what is happening there? Like, I wonder, have the Eagles ever heard of a Tampa 2?
Never. Apparently not, Mark. They ain't never heard of a cover 2 man.
Like, hey, Jesus Christ.
Mark, let's be honest. Like, you know what's crazy, right? Hear me out. You have a great quarterback, right? What is your game plan against a great quarterback? You say you have to decide. I don't want to give him too much time, so we got to decide whether we're going to blitz him because we don't want to give him too much time. We want to make him uncomfortable, throw an uncomfortable pass, or we say we're going to drop everybody back in coverage. We're going to rush 3 or 4. If we rush 3, we're playing the zone. If we rush 4, we're playing man, cover 2 man, because we want him to stay back there long enough for the pass rush to get him to where guys aren't just running free. Now, but when you're playing a bad quarterback, Mark, cover 2 man works because these guys are not good. They can't make these throws. They can't make these tight window throws. They can't throw guys open. They can't. There's things that they just are not capable of. So you play a cover 2 man. Like, why wouldn't you run a cover 2 man in this scenario? It's so simple, man. You still have the coverage over the top, and then if they try to hit the sidelines because they're trying to stop the clock and get out of bounds, you still have the coverage on both sides. Linebacker drop back in the middle. It's very simple, Mark. It's just crazy to me that you played an inferior quarterback and you decided to go with the cover 1.
Two questions. 2 questions here. He said, didn't Blankenship get burnt on that play anyway? That wasn't Blankenship, that was Brown. And secondly, he was in cover 1. Cover 1, the safety is playing in the middle of the field. That's not getting burnt. He was never supposed to be in the position to help. Bradbury was out there by himself, single covered. There was no help over the top. Bradbury in that interview afterwards said, I was aware that I wasn't going to get any help over the top. The play is not the defensive play is not designed for a safety to be able to help in the situation of someone getting over top of you. Not from there. Now, if he was doing a crosser or a post route, then yeah, the safety could do something about that. No, the safety should not be helping on the outside in the cover one.
So here's just real quick. I'll answer this. So this is why we're speaking about cover 2 or a Tampa 2. It's because when you're playing cover 1, you can only cover so much ground. If you go to the left side of the field, then the right side and the middle are wide open. If you go to the right side of the field, the left side and the middle are wide open. If you play the middle and only the middle, then even if they catch it on the outside, there's a small chance that you can run out there and get the tackle. So playing cover,
it's a
very
super small chance. That's why you should never do it.
Jerry, I absolutely hate cover 1. I don't think, unless you got man corners, you should never play it. But with that said, nah, man, like cover 1 is a bad idea if you don't have guys that can play man coverage. You have to have elite guys on the outside to play cover 1. If not, there's this thing called cover 3 where that one high safety can still play the middle of the field, but your cornerbacks on the outside drop back to cover the deep zone and they give up the underneath. And either a linebacker on one side plays the underneath, or your safety on the other side plays the underneath route. It's very simple. Cover 3 works if you want to have the safety in the middle of the field still. You can do cover 2. Anything else but a cover 1 probably would have worked in this scenario, is my point. So cover 1 is the one. Cover 1 or cover 0 is going to leave you in the position that you were in at this point in the game, where it's, hey, you're asking Bradbury to cover a receiver that's better than him. You should not have him out there by himself. Cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, any of these would have given him the help that he needed on the outside. Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
right.
So that's the issue with that. But
all right, so yeah, now listen, but going back to it, like I said, the middle field wide open all day, and then they're not providing help over the top. And the Eagles have been known for not providing help over the top. They've been known for the safeties cheating down into the middle of the field at times when they shouldn't. Like their play calling is just bad, man. Like, and they're too reliant on the dominance of their defensive line. They're far too reliant on the dominance of their front four. And here was a comment that was made in the game. They said coming into this game, we would expect, this was from the commentators, they were saying coming into this game, we expected to see a little bit more blitzes from Matt Patricia.
yeah.
But it was like he's doing even less than Sean Desai. And this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. He's doing even less than Sean Desai. You want to know why? Because Howie Roseman's arrogant ass said, "You're not running my scheme right. You're trying to do these blitzes or whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you just do what I tell you, then it should work." So they moved him out of there and had Matt Patricia come in to just do what he was told.
Yeah.
And Matt Patricia did exactly what he was told to do, and that's what fucking happened.
And I hear you, Mark. I'm going back to the question I asked you about Jalen Hurts, and now it makes sense. If Matt Patricia and Nick Sirianni can't do what they want to do the way that they want to do it, there's no way in hell that Jalen Hurts has the ability to do what he wants to do when he sees that the play isn't going to work and he says, you know what, we should call audible. He can't do that. So in Matt Patricia, I spoke to you before the game, and I told you maybe you guys have a chance. I said two things. I said, if Drew Lock is starting, you guys have a chance. You guys should win that game. And then I also said, when Matt Patricia was going to be playing, doing the play calling for the defense, I said the one good thing about Matt Patricia, like his thing that he's known for, that he does, is he gets creative with his pass rushes. I said blitzes, but he gets creative with his pass rushes. You might come out in a 4-3, and you might have the defensive end drop back into coverage while two of the linemen rush in. Like you don't know which four are going to rush, even if they rush four. Like you can't just assume it's just going to be the front four on the line. And that's what Matt Patricia was best at. And I didn't see any of that on the field, Mark. I didn't see any creativity with the pass rush. I didn't see any creativity with the play calling on defense. That is not Matt Patricia's style. They absolutely told him, look at this. You see this? You want to keep your job? This is what you call. That's what they told him, man. They didn't even give him the full menu, Mark. They gave him the Veterans Day menu. You can only pick one of these 3 items.
All right. He said, Dustin said, just watch the Njigba play. Dude was the only one running deep. Safety's fault. Yes, he's the only one running deep because it's a cover 1. Now, if it was Blankenship, okay, I'm corrected. But Dustin, this clearly shows that you don't understand how defenses work. I just type in cover 1 in Google and look at the play art for where the safety is supposed to be in the cover 1, and tell me how the safety is supposed to get over there in enough time when he is essentially responsible for the back half of the field
He
by
still
himself.
has to respect. You can say it was the only route that went deep, but by the time you realize that, it's already too late. He has to respect the other half.
Yes, he has to respect the middle of the field.
No, matter of fact, Mark, I forgot about this. I have the clip up right now, and I completely forgot that I have it. So I'm going to go ahead and post a clip here, and we're going to play it, Mark.
That's not it. That's the other one.
That's the other one?
Yeah.
That's not the Texas Super Chicken. My bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll go back to this.
But we can cover that one right now so we could get to that other one.
Okay, if you want to, let me bring it back up.
Because this is where Jalen Hurts, where people blame Jalen Hurts, and but yeah, I stand corrected on if that was Blankenship. Could have sworn it was Sidney Brown, but anyway.
Yeah, I'll pull this play back up then.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So this play here. All right. Just go to right where the running back escapes.
Okay.
13 ticks left.
Right there. Stop. Right here is the freeze frame that everybody has been seeing on Facebook and Twitter. They have been seeing that everywhere today and saying Jalen Hurts can't see. Do you see, right here, you guys can see where the running back is, and they're like, the running back is wide open. The running back's wide open. The running back is on a check and release. Can you go back, Sean?
Yeah, I could go back. So he said he's on a check and release.
13 ticks left.
Look, he can pick up. He
tries to check the defensive end. And then he kind of clips, and now he escapes. But Jalen Hurts is already looking at his primary target because his primary target is open. The number 1 person on the route is A.J. Brown. He's wide open. The ball doesn't make it there. Let's play and see why the ball doesn't make it there, because A.J. Brown was wide open.
Okay. Right there, you can see the defender jumping up at the last second, and Jalen Hurts has to adjust his throw right at the last moment to try to avoid getting the pass knocked down.
Right. Jalen Hurts has to adjust his pass because go back. Boss, both of his tackles are basically collapsed into him. Jordan Mailata on the left and Lane Johnson are basically standing on his toes. They did not create a pocket here at all. The safety came over because guess what? They weren't in the cover 1, Dustin.
Yeah, that's funny.
And not only that, but the play is also longer. This play is going for 50 yards. That gives a safety time to run over there versus a play only going 20 to 30. The ball has much more air time, especially in this situation because of the high arc.
Yeah. So, Mark, I got the play up for the last play of the game with Seahawks touchdown. Do you want that up?
Now, hold up. Now, because I also want to point out, go forward again.
Yeah, give me a second.
But don't go all the way forward. Like, go forward to the part where we see where Devonta Smith is.
They're going for
All right,
Right there.
right here. All right, guys. As you can see, Devonta Smith was on the out route, and they were saying Devonta Smith was open. I want you guys to see Devonta Smith is about 18 yards downfield before he cuts out. He doesn't need, this is the design of the play. The design of the play has him running about 18 yards and then doing it out. Why does the design of the play have him doing it out that deep? Like, that's not necessary. This play had, and look where the other receiver is. The other receiver is 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage. So you have one receiver who's 18 yards away from the line of scrimmage. The guy in the middle is 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage. What are they supposed to do? What is Jalen Hurts supposed to do in this situation? All these plays are not designed for a quick pass. And as you can see in that play, Jalen Hurts didn't have time to do that. The defensive ends was basically sitting in his lap. His tackles were standing on his toes. He didn't have time for all that. And that's a situation where you cannot take a sack. So when this is back to what I was saying earlier, when I was saying that you cannot blame him for this situation and that he's getting a lot of undue blame, is because of this play right here. This play right here tells you basically the story of how this team runs that offense. It's trash.
Yeah, I'm looking at this comment from Rob. He said, should have had Smith run a comeback as soon as he got to the sticks. He could have ran anything when he got to the sticks. He could have ran an in route. The Eagles have 2 timeouts right now. They don't have enough time to burn. Like, there's no reason for them to save the timeouts at this point. He could have ran an in route at the sticks. He could have run an out route at the sticks. He could have ran a comeback at the sticks. He could have ran any play at the sticks, and it would have been better than what he did there. So, and then for the block and release, the block and release wasn't even needed. They rushed 4. Okay. In that situation, I'll be honest, the running back has to look at it and see that the defensive end is picked up and just release. But I'm still not going to put that on. I just don't like the play call. I just don't like a block and release play on that type of a situation, because number one, you're not going to get the yards that you need. Number two, it's going to take too long to develop. Mark, like I said, you let me know when you want me to bring up the Seattle play.
We covered this play pretty well. So yeah, no, you guys can see it right here. People blaming Jalen Hurts for the last play of the game, and it's clear to see the last play of the game is not on him. The last play of the game is on his defense. It's on his tackles, and it's on the play calling.
Well, this is. I want to be very clear. As you can see, where it was paused, there's 9 seconds on the clock. Let's say Jalen Hurts feels the pressure, he sees it coming, he throws the ball away. He doesn't really have that luxury, man, because you still need to move the ball down. You still need time to have 2 plays. That means you're going to have 8 to 7 seconds to try to throw the ball 15 yards down the field, 10 yards down the field, and then still have time enough to kick a field goal.
And you can't. And he can't throw the ball away from there because he's in the pocket. That means he has to waste more clock, escape the pocket, and then throw it away.
Yeah, it's just bad. Like, Yeah. Yeah. Jerry, I'm just gonna ignore Jerry. He trying to piss me off. So I'm gonna ignore Jerry, man. Talking about cover 3 not in the playbook for Wilkes, man. Look, we winning right now. I'm not gonna let you do that to me, Jerry. I'm not gonna let you do it. That cover 1, that was weeks ago. Motherfucker, that was weeks ago. Charlie Murphy. Hey, look. But anyways, with that said,
show us the play.
Oh, you want to see the play? Okay, you want to see the play now. All right. Let me get that. Start this. Okay.
Lock. End zone. It is caught. Touch.
See, I want to rewind this, Mark, because I want to see. We're starting off from the 29-yard line. This is what I mean by you hope that the safety can get over to make a tackle, because the field is already short. When you're running the cover
right.
One, you have to understand if you're a cornerback on the outside, you're not going to have help if they're running an outside route. You understand that if they run a post route over the middle, you have that help. But if your guy is running on the outside, you don't have help. Okay, you don't have it. He can't move out of the middle position until the ball is thrown, which is why he makes it over there late.
Lock.
Look, he's burnt. He's roasted in 15 yards. I don't know what you want.
End zone. It is caught.
I don't know what you could get.
Like there was
there's no way for Reed Blankenship, unless Reed Blankenship is already sitting back in the end zone. Like Reed Blankenship would have to play when there's only 29 yards, Mark. Reed Blankenship would have had to been.
He would have had to been cheating over to that side.
He would have had to be 20, 25 yards deep, yes, and possibly cheating over that side to get over there. That cornerback has to be able to cover that, and if he's not able to, then this is what happens. It just is what it is, man.
Now, can you go back? Because Bradbury, he said he was sitting on it because he was sitting on the slant or the cross. Like if he was backed up too far, if all he would have had to do is cut in and get the first down, and they're where they need to be.
Look at this. Blanket, he's
sitting on the possible, and that's where he get burnt right there. Because he was sitting at the sticks.
You have to respect the rest of the field.
Lock. End zone.
You have to respect the rest of the field, and that's what he was doing. And I want to be clear. This is trips. They're running 3 wide receivers on the other side of the field. If he is going to cheat to a side, he's probably going to cheat to the side of the field that has 3 players.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else I don't know what you want from him in that situation. He's not Superman. But yeah, no, it's just a bad. This is why I have a problem with end of the half plays, end of the game plays, and defensive coordinators calling cover 1. In this cover 1, real quick, I want to be very clear. They're not blitzing.
No.
They're not blitzing. Look at that. You got a 4-man rush. Everybody else is in man coverage. You have a deep safety, and then you have a linebacker playing the middle. That's it, man. You're not getting extra pressure. I would have respected it more if they just said, we're going to blitz you, man.
Yeah. And Jerry said it. Jerry said this was Jerry is absolutely correct. This was a pre-snap read by Drew Lock. They knew exactly what they was going to do the moment that they saw the way this defense was. Cause he threw it. He wasted no time throwing that. They knew exactly what they were going to do. Play to play. He didn't look around the field at all. He knew exactly where he was going.
Lock. End zone.
Yeah.
Lock. End zone.
I think he immediately just looks to the.
He immediately looks to the left.
He's already looking there. He's already winding up at this point. He's 3 steps off the line. He's already winding up. And look, you could tell that the outside corner is playing the sticks. He's playing the sticks. He's flat-footed right now, man. He's leaning forward.
Lock. End zone.
He's burnt, Mark. I don't know, man. That's like you have to know that you're on the island, which means you have to give up the sticks. You can't say I'm on an island and I don't want to give up the sticks.
Now
You're not Jalen Ramsey.
That's also where it comes. That falls on Bradbury because you give up the sticks or you give up the touchdown. Which one you going to do?
Need a touchdown to win. You can't give up the touchdown. It's very simple. You give up the sticks. That's your pride getting in the way. Yeah, but either way, that's pretty much that, man. Do you want to move on? Let me see what other topics
we've been talking about this shit for 46 minutes.
We have been. Okay, we probably not going to get to the NBA stuff, but we can finish off with the NFL topics, Mark. Let me put this back up here. All right, I'm going to go to, oh, you got it? Bradbury wasn't expecting them to go deep, so when he went flat-footed, it was over. Well, this is the thing, man. It's 3rd and 10. It's not the first time that they took a shot, man. You're in cover 1. You can't. I don't accept that excuse. You're in cover 1. That's exactly when they're gonna go deep. Like, everybody's seen it happen multiple times across NFL games. They'll see a coverage like that, and the receiver is looking at the quarterback, and they're making eye contact to let them know, hey, I'm gonna run a streak. You gave me that look. I'm running a streak. Pre-snap, they're deciding that. They're hot routing to a streak before the snap happens because they see the coverage. You showed them one high safety, and you didn't disguise it. That's what happened, man. Like, I'm not against it.
Dustin says, still disagree with you guys for giving my short high school career. That's fine.
It's all good, man.
It's all good that you disagree. It's all right. It's all right. We're
not always going to agree, man.
We're not always going to agree, and you're allowed to be wrong. It's okay.
Hey, Dustin, you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The Eagles lost and the Cowboys in second place. Hey, look. Hey, look, man. At the end of the day, what are we talking about here? The Cowboys in second place. But with that said, man. With that said, man, I want to get into this. I want to get into our next topic, man. So we have the MVP race. Who will be this year's MVP? Mark. Right now, it seems like the fans' consensus is starting to line up with the Vegas and NFL consensus, which right now it seems to be you have Brock Purdy, you have CMC, you have Tyreek Hill. It seems like everybody is slowly starting to agree on who is leading this race. Tyreek, it's been an issue with Tyreek Hill these past couple of games. So that
Tyreek is done. He's out the race unless he has a 250-yard game in these next 3 games. He's out the race.
Yeah, so that's the situation with Tyreek. So let's knock them down a little bit. You have CMC and you have Brock Purdy. Replacing Tyreek Hill in the race is Lamar Jackson, and I believe that's purely based on the fact that they're the best team in the AFC. It's not because of his stats
at all.
Sure. So
his stats are trash.
So yes, this comes down to Brock Purdy and CMC, and I wanted to have this conversation because there's a lot of people that feel like CMC should be runaway, right? See, Dustin, I like that comment. It's exactly the way I feel, Dustin. It's gonna be Purdy. It should be CMC. We've seen this time and time again, man. It's basically the best quarterback of the year award. And here's the issue. CMC is fighting an uphill battle. And with CMC, he has to have a record-breaking or world-breaking year in order to beat out a quarterback that is going to be leading in every statistical category imaginable. So just as I'm going to read off some stats from the last 4 running back MVPs. We have Adrian. I'm going to go backwards. So Adrian Peterson, 2012, he ran for 2,097 yards, which we know he was just shy of the all-time record. He averaged 6 yards per carry that season. Okay, he had a total.
He ran for 132 yards per game, correct?
131.1.
That was the average.
Yeah, 131.1 yards per game is what he averaged, and he ended the season with 13 touchdowns, and he ended the season with 2,300 total yards. So you might say that's less touchdowns than CMC, but the man almost broke the rushing record. Okay, so that's one season. Before him, LaDainian Tomlinson, that is the 28 rushing touchdown season with 3 receiving touchdowns. He had 31 total touchdowns, and his yardage was 2,300 yards. Okay, so 2,300 total yards with 31 touchdowns. Okay, that's what it took for LT to win MVP. Before him, Sean Alexander, 1,880 yards. Okay, which at that time you're talking about the most in, that's the most in X amount of years at that time. He ran for 1,880 yards. He ran for 27 touchdowns. Okay, which then tied the record for most rushing touchdowns at that time. And he, if you count his receiving yards, it put him at about 1,950, and he had 1 receiving touchdown. So 28 total TDs and 1,880 yards. So basically, damn near 2,000 total yards and 28 touchdowns. Okay, and for the last one, you have Marshall Faulk get 1,359 yards rushing, 5.4 yards per carry, 97 yards per game rushing average, 81 receptions. Okay, 81 receptions for 830 yards. So he totaled almost 2,200 total yards, and he ended the season with 26 touchdowns. Okay, these are the years that it takes to beat out a quarterback at the running back position. Right now, CMC has 1,800 total yards. He has 20 total touchdowns. They have 3 more games to play. His yards per game average is 93. Okay, we have an extra game with the 17 game season, and Brock Purdy is going to have a record-breaking season when it comes to how many statistical categories he's leading. Okay, the stats might not be breaking any records as far as the total yardage and total touchdowns and all that, but leading in all these categories, it will be record-breaking. And for that reason, I believe that Brock Purdy is absolutely going to be the MVP if things continue to go on the same pace that they're going on right now. And CMC, unless he ends the year with like 30 touchdowns in 2,300 yards total, then I just don't see how he ends up winning the MVP, Mark.
Well, I don't think he will. First, I want to just bring up the fact that I think that this may be the weakest MVP race ever in the NFL.
It is. It's not. You think it is. It is.
This may be the weakest class ever, and I wish JJ Watt was like the year that JJ Watt was doing insane things. I wish that he was a part of this class because he would have won. We would have.
He would have won, man. I wanted JJ. I felt like JJ should have won. JJ was out there catching touchdowns, playing tight end, man. Come on, man. They played your boy JJ Watt, man. They played him that year. But it goes to our point. Matter of fact, the crazy thing is about the Marshall Faulk season where he won it. This in 1999, he had a year where he had 1,000 yards receiving. He had 1,000 yards receiving, and he had almost 1,400 yards rushing. and I think he totaled like 12 touchdowns. But to have 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing as a running back, and I believe he was the first person to do it. I think he might be the only person to do it, and that wasn't enough for him to win MVP. So what I'm saying is, you have to be setting some type of record as a running back or coming damn close to it for you to be able to win MVP, man. This is the quarterback sweepstakes, baby. Understand what it is, and understand that as much as I love CMC and as much as I love his game, as much as I think he should deserve it in a down year, he's not going to get it.
Hey, man. Congratulations to Brock Purdy, I guess, because
I don't see how it ends any other way, Mark. I'll be honest with you.
He would have to like throw a bunch of picks at the end.
Yeah, he would have to shit the bed. Now that Tyreek had his injury, he would have to shit the bed. All right, so that's it for the MVP race. I feel like it's just an open and closed case as for now. Let's talk about the games to watch. Okay, games to watch in Week 16, Mark. I don't know if you have a schedule in front of you, but let me look.
Now.
I have it. I just need to click on Week 16. Okay, boom, here we go. Right off the bat, you have where is it?
Dallas
and Miami.
Yeah, Dallas, Miami is the pick for me. Dallas and Miami. Oh, Baltimore and San Fran, potential Super Bowl preview.
Yes, the Baltimore San Fran game is something that I'm looking at, because we've had a problem this season all year, struggling to figure out which teams are real and which teams are fake, Mark. And we've seen the Niners have their faltering already happen. The Ravens essentially have gone on a run and really haven't completely faltered. They haven't looked like world beaters, but they haven't completely faltered. Their defense is definitely amazing, Mark, and this is going to be a test for Brock Purdy. If there is another game that the Niners could lose, this is the one. Also, this is a game for Lamar to prove something, that, hey, you're going to be going up against a top-tier defense. It's a playoff atmosphere game. Can you survive this game without turning the ball over a bunch of times? Okay, like this is a statement game. This is a statement game for both quarterbacks, essentially, Mark. And I'm trying to see which quarterback shows up and shows out. So, because both of them have their hands full with the defenses that they're playing against.
Well, I want to say this very quickly. Did you see the conspiracy theorists about the Super Bowl logo and how it reveals who's going to be in the Super Bowl every year?
No, I did not. What's the conspiracy, Mark? I like a good conspiracy.
The Super Bowl, the conspiracy is that the colors that they use in the logo every year reveals who's going to be in the Super Bowl. This year, the colors is purple and red, or like a purple, reddish yellow color. And so they were saying this year it's going to be the Ravens and San Fran because of the colors in the Super Bowl logo. Last year, the colors were green and red. It was like green and red last year. So obviously, Eagles, Chiefs, and then the year before that, it was something else. So yeah,
that's kind of a wild thing. I'm definitely going to look into that. Look, man, do I think the NFL rigs things and cheats? Possibly, Mark, man. After seeing that Saints game, after seeing the Saints Rams game, dog, anything's possible, Mark. I seen a clear as day helmet to helmet / early hit on a wide receiver happen and I watched the ref stand 2 feet away and not call it. So like, I don't know, man. If you want to say that the NFL is rigged, look, man, I'm gonna say I'm gonna lean on the side that it's not. But you guys have a strong argument to say that it is, man. I can't argue with you.
Yeah, man. So yeah, but yeah, that's the thing that's going on out there.
You say it's the Ravens Niners, man. Who's to say it's not the Chiefs Vikings?
Shut up. Vikings aren't even going to the playoffs.
Right. All right, maybe that's done with. Okay, all right.
So yeah, but yeah, people are saying it's the Ravens Niners now. But the Dallas Miami game, that'll be interesting. The interesting thing for me about the Dallas Miami game is the health of Tyreek Hill. Is Tyreek Hill going to be available? And if he is available in this game, will he be able to be himself? And I want to see Old Man Gilmore go up against Tyreek. Old Man Gilmore has been
like he caught his second win right now. He's like,
he has been locking people the F up. Like like dog. Like yo, man.
I'll give him his credit, Mark.
Give him a siren and a taser because he's been putting people in jail. Like
yeah, hey, into what they say, 23-1 lockdown shoot program.
100%.
Hey, real rap though. I remember before the season, I was talking about the possibility of that defensive backfield being a problem, not because Stephon Gilmore is back there, but because Stephon Gilmore was going to be able to mentor these young athletic DBs that it had. Little did I know that Stephon Gilmore was going to say, fine, I'll do it myself. You know what I'm saying? Put on the gauntlet, go out there, start locking people up. I didn't know he was going to do that, Mark. So shout out to Stephon Gilmore for being an old man cornerback still out there locking people up, man. It looks like hell out there when he's out there playing against number one receivers, Mark.
He is
but
like
yes,
a monster.
I mean, there's so many good storylines behind the Dallas Miami game.
You know what's crazy?
What's up?
I love playing the alternate universe game.
Yeah.
In an alternate universe, the Eagles didn't re-sign Bradbury and they signed Stephon Gilmore.
that would have been real nice right about now.
No, real rap. And this is, I remember now. Remember, I was like, there was a corner I wanted the Eagles to get, and I was really pissed off about the Fletcher Cox signing and shit.
Yeah. It was Stephon Gilmore.
It was Stephon Gilmore. Right? Yeah. I remember why I was super pissed off about the Fletcher Cox stuff, and it was him. Because we gave this dude $21 million. We could have easily gave that money to Stephon Gilmore, but no, we said give it to this old ass F, and then go ahead and re-sign the other guys.
That Stephon Gilmore shit. Like you guys might be with one loss and one loss only right now. If you had Stephon, you might not have any losses right now.
Yeah, even with the terrible defensive play calling.
Yeah,
like because right now our players have to be perfect because the play calling is trash. But right now, like if you had Stephon Gilmore on the team, you might be undefeated. That's a crazy thing to think about, Mark, because these games have been close outside of these two games, but the Niners and the Cowboys game. But essentially, I think the complexion of the Niners and the Cowboys game completely changes if you have Stephon Gilmore out there, especially with the Niners' slow start that we had. Like that shit would have, yeah. So with that said, man, I'm looking at this. What did he say? Oh no, that's what Jerry said. Warner for Defensive Player of the Year. Fred Warner. For those that aren't paying attention, he's quietly. The way that he's been playing in coverage, he is a top 10 coverage player
this year. Not linebacker. He's by far and away the best coverage linebacker this year, but he is a top 10 coverage player, and I'm comparing him to DBs at this point. And at the same time, he's been completely lights out when it comes to his IQ and being in the right place at the right time to stop runs and all that stuff. Like Fred Warner, that's my vote for Defensive Player of the Year. It would be crazy. You know what I don't want, Mark? I don't want us to have the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP on the same team, Mark. That would absolutely let me know that I'm destined to be disappointed by my team in the playoffs. But
well, no. Here's the thing, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think that you like. I hate to say it, but you guys should not lose anything. Like you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You have you are the San Francisco 49ers are the only team that looks complete or looks NFL ready this year.
We look the part. Mark.
You're the only team that looks the part this year. Every other team, like this is a down year for every team except for San Francisco and Dallas. At times have looked great, but we know what their schedule is. So we're like, okay, like, but San Fran is the only team that has looked the part this year at all.
Yeah. But yeah, real quick before we get to anything else, I wanted to speak. I did want to go back to the Cowboys-Dolphins matchup. So like I said, the storylines behind it, you have two aging DBs that are trying to prove that they still got it. You have, Stephon Gilmore that's proving it, and you have Jalen Ramsey who just, not too long ago came back from injury. That's out there trying to prove something to the football world. You have two defenses, Mark, that I believe they are very beatable, and then in some random weeks they're lights out. So I believe that they're similar in that way. Obviously, Dallas is a little bit more lights out than Miami when they have their lights out games, but it's very similar, right? And then you have these explosive offenses that can be explosive, and then sometimes they're not, right? And both teams have the label of you guys are bullies, you guys are beating up on bad teams, and you can't really play well against good teams, right? So both of these teams are so similar, Mark, that I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Does this turn into a shootout, Mark? Or do both teams come in and play defense and lock each other down? Or do both offenses falter so bad that the defense is eating on turnovers? I feel like this game can play out in so many numbers of ways that I think it's just going to be interesting to see what kind of identity each team takes on during the course of this game.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Today, I got to get to this. This is an NBA topic, and it's interesting. How fast 25 games go by.
Yeah.
And I say that because today marks the day that Ja Morant came back to the league and was allowed to play. And so, like, it's crazy how fast 25 games go by.
It goes by quickly when you're focused on Draymond Green being a goon.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting about that, though, is Ja Morant, in his return back to the league, he had a statement. He had something to say, and it was to the tune of 34 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and none of it was from three. He was 0 for 5 from three. Game score ended 115 to 113, and Ja Morant hits the game winner on a buzzer beater. On a buzzer beater short pull up.
Yeah, I'll say this, Mark. A lot of players say, you know what, I'm just going to try to focus on basketball. A lot of people say that, Mark.
Oh, by the way, he had 2 steals in the block.
2 steals in the block. Yeah. Like a lot of people say that, Mark, but we don't really know if they mean it, man. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what John Morant was going to be doing in his spare time. Apparently, John Morant was prepping for his return in his spare time, Mark. So, shout out to John Morant in his return game. I see that he's got it all together, and he seems like he's dialed in and focused. If that's the case, with his performance tonight, and I just hope that the young man is also playing the game of life with the same dedication and focus, Mark. I hope he's left all that crap and BS behind him, Mark, because he's too good of a talent to be wasting away outside of the courts of the NBA. I don't want to see another case of like a Jermaine O'Neal, who was one of my favorite players at the time. We seeing him disappear into oblivion because of the malice in the palace, right? So yeah, I would love to see John Morant play more.
Yeah, man.
Hey, that's crazy. Hey, I gotta bring that comment up. All right. Hey, so he said we know what Anthony Edwards was doing in his spare time. I will say I forgot about this, right? We had a whole conversation about this at work today, Mark.
What's that?
Wildest thing from the tweets is like I don't know what to do. Get an abortion, LOL. That's a crazy text to send out, Mark. That's a wild text to send out to somebody, right? That's madness. And then, hey, you got the money. I sent the money already. What's the holdup? That's wild, Mark. Your boy Anthony Edwards is out here. He ain't playing. He don't play no games on the court, Mark, and he ain't playing no games off the court either, Mark.
I tell you who he ain't. He ain't Zion Williamson. I tell you that.
He absolutely. Hey, he's letting it be known. Hey, I'm not them other dudes, Mark. I am not. Hey, go play with something safe.
Yeah, don't play with me.
Hey, that man sent. Where's the video? Send the video. He sent this shit like 5 times in a row. Hey, he was not playing, dog. Like, look, man. I don't know what else there's to say about it. I can tell you this. Judging from the text and judging from his attitude in the text, I can honestly say I don't think he cares that the text got leaked. The only thing he cared about is whether she sent that damn video or not, Mark.
Yo, he is dead ass like, that's my business. I don't care. And I guarantee you, he blocked her.
Hey, dude.
I guarantee you after this, he blocked her.
Hey, it was like, what's next? He said, don't worry, my lawyers will handle that. That's crazy, Mark. Hey, you know what vibes it gave me? It gave me Nino Brown vibes. Cancel that bitch. Give me another one. Like he was like, look, my lawyers will handle the rest, dog. Don't even speak to me. Like that was the end of the conversation. He never going to speak to her again.
He blocked her.
Hey, right. Your boy Anthony Edwards is crazy. The wildest.
He ain't crazy. He the first dude in the NBA that I seen with his head on his shoulders in a long time.
Hey, Mark, the most layered meme I seen about the whole thing was everybody knows the story about Michael Jordan at camp. And he promised them he'd get them all shoes if he missed one of the 3 free throws and he knocked all 3 of them down. He basically was like, fuck them kids. He could have missed one on purpose to hook them. He was like, nah, son, this is a bet and I don't lose bets, right? Everybody has to fuck them kids story about Michael Jordan. Everybody knows
it's still the greatest thing in the world, dog.
Hey, look, man. He played a kid one-on-one and he didn't let him score, Mark. This shit was crazy. But with that said, everybody knows the rumors about Anthony Edwards might be, everybody's got their conspiracies about Anthony Edwards being Michael Jordan's son. So I see a meme and it's Michael Jordan's face on one side and Edwards on the other side. And with Anthony Edwards' face on the other side, Mark, underneath it, they had the little Nike check, and then it shit said, fuck them kids. And I was like, damn, that is genius, Mark. Hey, look, Anthony Edwards, shout out to you, young man. I mean, I'm going to say this. I don't know if I can condone the specific way you went about it, and I maybe not able to condone the verbiage and all that stuff and the way that you went about it, but shout out to you for standing up and standing on principle, man. Hey, Anthony Edwards, stand on business. Hey, look, he was not. Send the video.
Like, yo,
hey,
you keep talking to me, and I said what I said.
Like, that shit is crazy, man. But shout out to Anthony Edwards. Real quick, since we're talking about the NBA, I'll save the Draymond Green for later. Let's talk about the best team in the NBA right now. Mark, who do you have as being the best team in the NBA right now as we speak? Who do you have the most faith in right now?
For now, I'm just gonna say, it's Denver until somebody knock them off.
I'm glad that you said that, Mark, because that's the way I feel. I don't care. Let's be honest, man. We know finishing first place, finishing as the best team in the regular season means absolutely nothing in the NBA. We've seen multiple years where the Milwaukee Bucks would finish first place and not do anything with it. We see multiple years where the Toronto Raptors would finish first place and they wouldn't do nothing, Mark. We know what it is, man. Until somebody can come up and construct a game plan to stop Jokic from doing what he does and to stop the Denver Nuggets from being able to execute the game plans that they want to execute, I'm going to sit here and tell you that they are the best team in the league, Mark. I agree with you 1,000%. I don't care how good the other teams look. I know what Denver looked like in the playoffs, and it's not a fluke, Mark. So,
but I will say this though, my front runner for MVP, Joel Embiid. That dude is on a monster tear right now, dog. That dude is playing outside of his effing mind. The person that people were saying he was 3-4 years ago,
it's not him no more.
The person that people were pretending he was 3 or 4 years ago. That's exactly who he is now. That dude is going crazy. And the fact that you have Maxey giving you regular 30-point games now.
I love to see it, Mark. I love to see Maxey out there getting the time on the court and getting the ball and getting the opportunity to be able to score the 30 points, man. I like what I see.
If this team finds a way well before, please, NBA teams, particularly you Bulls, particularly you Sixers, please do not wait till the trade deadline to make a trade. Get it done. Get Zach LaVine off the Bulls. Sixers, give them Tobias Harris. Let's make this happen.
Hey, Tobias, it was nice knowing you. It's time for you to go. I would absolutely I think that would be a better fit for the team and for what they want to do. Zach LaVine is one of these guys that I just believe is not a number one guy. He could be a great number two. He could be an even better number three. But as long as you don't have to rely on Zach LaVine being your number one option night in and night out, then Zach LaVine is not a problem. And on the Sixers, he would not have to be one or two. So I would like that would be amazing if you guys could get Zach LaVine. Excuse me, not you guys. You're not a Sixers.
Yeah, but correct yourself.
My apologies, Mark. Philly. Talking to Philly fans, Sixers fans. But either way, you already know that there's also been whispers about the Lakers. Not whispers about the Lakers being interested in Zach LaVine, but a lot of Lakers fans are hoping that the Lakers make a move for Zach LaVine. But it seems as though the rumors also say that the Lakers, LeBron James, whoever, they are not interested in Zach LaVine. They are looking for somebody else, and I think that it's like clockwork, man. The Lakers are deciding to make another bad decision. The craziest thing I heard, Mark, was they were interested in Alex Caruso. I'm like, not the same Alex Caruso that y'all let walk. It's crazy how that works, Mark. So, yeah, but Zach LaVine on the Sixers, that would change the landscape of the East very quickly. That would change the landscape of the NBA playoffs very quickly, Mark. But either way, Zach LaVine is somebody who I've liked for a while. I just don't like him on the Bulls, and I don't like the role that they have for him. So,
all right, guys. Listen, that's the end of the show. We don't got nothing else for you. We'll catch you guys. We won't catch you next Tuesday because next Tuesday will be the day after Christmas, and I doubt that we will be caring to talk to you after that. So
yeah, I got gifts that I need to indulge in once that next day comes.
Yeah, man, maybe catch me on Twitch playing Mortal Kombat or something. I don't know. Because unfortunately, I already know what one of my gifts is.
You know what? Unfortunately, shame, man. It's a shame that not everybody has the Christmas spirit, Mark.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. Well, I gotta know. I have to. I'm stuck with the burden of knowing what one of my gifts is already. So, maybe you catch me on Mortal Kombat 1 out there, people. I don't know.
Yeah, but say anyway. It be your own people. Say it be your own people, Mark. That's what they say. Man.
Dog, I be wanting to feel like a kid too. I want to be. Ooh, what's this? Nah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I like a little surprise in my life. I like for one day of the year to where I'm not the one purchasing these items, so I have a little surprise, a little mystery behind it. But
you know what I mean.
Shout out to everybody, since we're not going to see you guys probably to the new year. Maybe we'll make some posts. We'll chat it up with you guys on Facebook. But just want to say, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope everybody enjoys their holidays.
Hey, did you guys like the little video, the TikTok video? Troy said he liked it. He said I'm getting good at the edits. I appreciate that. I appreciate the vote of confidence. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying to get better. And I don't have no problem making videos at my own expense. It's kind of fun. So, and it also helps me deal with my anger about the situation.
What your mom used to say, do something constructive.
Right.
So,
all right, man. But listen, share. But listen, if you guys saw the TikTok, it's on our page too, right? I believe it's
on the Facebook page as well.
Yeah. Can you guys share that out? Share the TikTok out. Get the eyes on it, because then the eyes come to us. Link, like, subscribe, all that trash. You know what I'm saying? You know how it go. That doesn't matter. They're still losers in the end.
There's no point to talk about the Spurs beating the Lakers, because these fools are limiting Wemby's time, because I feel like they're trying to get a high draft pick.
Yeah.
That's just my conspiracy.
Well, they said Bol maybe going to the Spurs at some point.
We'll see, man. I just think the Spurs are engaging in funny business right now. So I'm not taking their losing streak with a grain of salt.
Well, you know, I mean, Pop don't got but so many more years. Do you think that they're grooming Tim Duncan to be the next head coach?
Man, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they were, Mark. The thing is this, you know who they were grooming to be there was two people that were supposed to be the next head coach for the Spurs. One of them was Steve Kerr. He's gone, right? He left. Mm-hmm. The other person was Becky Hammon, who is now a head coach in the WNBA. So, there's no more understudies here, Mark. I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to groom, if they're working on grooming Tim Duncan.
All right. That was it. Because I don't see how Pop still has it in him. Like, He has all the rings. Like what? Like why?
Can't have no desire, man. You can't have that burning desire no more, man.
Yeah.
You're solidified, man. You're solidified.
Yeah, and if he does, man, shout out to him for not getting bored.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it, y'all. Peace. Like, subscribe, all that. And remember, the views expressed on this podcast is our views alone. And it's only entertainment. Peace.
Peace.